All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack the sudden, unexpected reappearance of Myanmar's ousted leader. So this week, the world got a look at a set of extremely rare, kind of grainy photos that were just released by Myanmar's military government. And honestly, these aren't just your everyday snapshots, they are deeply significant diplomatic markers. Today, we're going to break down exactly what these images show, what they might be hiding, and why they matter so much to the international community.
So here's our agenda for today. We're looking at four key things: the emergence of these rare photos, the 2021 military coup, Myanmar's ongoing civil war, and finally, what this meeting actually means in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, part one, the rare photos emerge. Now you might be wondering, why do a few low-quality, grainy photos matter so much? I mean, in our modern world, it's so easy to just scroll past a blurry image, right? But in a highly restricted nation like Myanmar, any visual evidence that makes it into the public domain is a carefully calculated message. Basically, these images just broke years of absolute silence. And here is the really crucial takeaway. These photos capture Aung San Suu Kyi meeting a representative from the International Committee of the Red Cross. And the timing? It happened on Monday, which actually coincided with her 81st birthday. This is a monumental detail, guys, because this marks her very first known contact with any foreign official or envoy in half a decade. For 5 whole years, there were zero public updates on her health, and her whereabouts were a complete mystery. So let's piece together what we actually know right now based on what Myanmar's Military Information Committee provided. First up, we know this Red Cross meeting went down in the capital. We also know that earlier this year, back in April, authorities transferred her from a prison to house arrest, and they actually reduced her overall sentence. But, that's kind of where the trail goes cold. Despite this meeting and despite the fact that she looked to be in pretty good health for her 81st birthday, the authorities are still flat out refusing to disclose exactly where she's being held or how much longer she's going to be detained there. Moving on to part two, the 2021 military coup. To really understand the gravity of all this, we have to rewind a bit. Everything stems from the early morning of February 1st, 2021. That's when a military coup completely toppled her democratically elected government. Literally overnight, Myanmar was placed under full military junta rule, and she was imprisoned immediately. Fast forward to January 2024, elections were held. Then in April, she was moved to house arrest, which brings us right up to the present moment and the surprising Red Cross meeting. But let's just pause on those January 2024 elections for a second, because we are looking at two completely different realities here. On one side, the military claims their backed party won with a sweeping mandate. Simple enough. But on the flip side, the international community responded with a massive wave of criticism, pointing to a non-transparent electoral process and widespread repression. It's a textbook example of how the exact same political event is framed entirely differently depending on who is holding the microphone. All right, that brings us to part three, Myanmar's ongoing civil war. Now take a look at this number, 100,000. Ousting a Nobel Peace Prize laureate wasn't just some political reshuffling in the capital. It was like lighting a match in a powder keg. That 2021 coup sparked a brutal civil war across the entire country, and sources confirm that this conflict has killed at least 100,000 people so far. That is a staggering human cost, and it's the grim reality happening just outside the frame of those newly released photos. And once again, we see this massive clash of narratives regarding the actual state of the country today. The military leadership is out there stating that the situation in Burma is now normalized, but critics absolutely reject that claim. They argue that as long as a bloody civil war is raging with a death toll of 100,000, and as long as political prisoners like Aung San Suu Kyi are locked up, the country is far from normal. You really have to keep both of these deeply opposed viewpoints in mind when you're analyzing any news coming out of the region. Which leads us to our final section, part 4, what this meeting actually means. Think about it. Her whereabouts and her health status have been a total black box for years. So just the sheer visual evidence of her sitting in a room is a huge deal. As reports note, this is the first independent proof that she's actually alive. For her supporters and for international observers, this provides an incredibly meaningful proof of life after years of just agonizing silence. But there is still a massive puzzle piece missing here. The military released the photos, sure, but the International Committee of the Red Cross itself hasn't said a single word about the visit yet. Because there are so few details out there, the precise reason for this super rare gathering is completely unknown. I mean, why now? Why on her 81st birthday? What in the world was discussed? All of that remains securely behind closed doors.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, we really have to ask ourselves what these photos actually represent. Are these grainy images a genuine, tentative first step toward engaging with the international community and maybe finding an end to a conflict that has claimed 100,000 lives? Or are they just a highly calculated political maneuver, a strategic proof of life released by a military government just to quiet down the rising international concerns about an 81-year-old Nobel laureate? Honestly, the answer to that question is going to shape the entire future of Myanmar and its people. Thank you so much for joining me to break this down today, and as always, keep questioning what you see.